Hey, Shalom, Shalom, Shalom. First and foremost, call halal Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakudash. And of course, double honors go out to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. This is normal the DC camp. Um, and I guess I'll ask a question to start off, and it's like, well, for all of you out there that, I don't know, that have been convinced that there was never a conspiracy against we or us as a people, so called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American. Uh, it comes a point in time that, the evidence is just there. Now, whether you choose to ignore it because you're trying to, you know, fit in, and it's not easy, you know, by no means that I'm saying that it is. It's sad that you got to walk in two worlds, but that's part of the curses. And, we have to go to this piece of shit so called white man for everything, you know, because we fucked up. That's just, the nature of what's going on here. But knowing this, hey, you got to fight that much harder, to come up out of this world. And in this article here, it's going to, again, put the spotlight on this same old game this devil has been playing for oh so very long. And you have to ask yourself, why would anybody in their right mind, all right, want to stay in this bitch? And by this bitch, I mean America. The world in general, but in particular America, because this American Edomite, nobody, even his fellow Edomite brethren, don't like him. All right. Anyway, this is from the Austin American Statesman, and it says below: White racial anxiety strikes again, and it's making reference to this latest Virginia gubernatorial uh, election where the Republican won. All right. His name is Glenn Youngkin. All right, and of course, his Democrat opponent, all right, was trying to link him up with Trump. The usual game. Well, it didn't work this time, and this, of course, sends a strong message to uh, the one in the White House now. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get into the article. Glenn Youngkin's defeat of Terry McAuliffe in the Virginia governor's race shocked some, but it resulted from multiple factors. Democrats still haven't delivered on their promises or moved major legislation, their infrastructure, social spending, and voting rights bills through Congress. And McAuliffe ran a last cycle campaign, an anti Donald Trump campaign. All right? It says, of course, there are structural, historical patterns that still hold true in states like Virginia, where voters tend to punish whichever party controls the White House. But what can't be denied is the degree to which Youngkin successfully activated and unleashed white racial anxiety, positioning it in its most potent form as the protection of the vulnerable, innocent, and helpless. In this case, the white victims in supposed distress were children. All right. He honed on this one uh, exchange that they had during one of their debates, in which McAuliffe said that parents shouldn't have any say so in their children's education. The curriculum that the school teaches. Oh boy. And that Republican seized the moment, and, well, he's governor now. All right. So it says Youngkin homed in on critical race theory, even though critical race theory as Youngkin imagines it, isn't being taught in his state schools. But that didn't matter. And this is the thing. And this is, what was that anime? Um, was it Michael Moore? Uh, I know it was supposed to have been banned on YouTube or something like that, but it talks about how, oh man, how did it go? Um, about, oh, it showed it was abbreviated history of America, and it showed how when the Pilgrims came over here, and they, the Native Americans were all nice to them and everything. I'm sure you've seen it. I can't remember the exact title of it. And it shows how, the white people got terrified. They started shaking it, and they just, started killing them off. And the same thing with, you know, Southern Kingdom Jakes when they brought them over here to slavery. And, it was funny in the way it was done, but not funny. All right. Anyway, so it says there are people who want to believe the fabrication because it justifies their fears about displacement, powerlessness, and vulnerability. Well, what about the people that have suffered under your hands for centuries? Oh, but we don't matter. We're always complaining. Our complaints are always unjustified. We just have to work harder and shut the fuck up. Nah, uh-uh. It says, in fact, the frenzy around critical race theory is just the latest in a long line of manufactured outrages meant to tap into this same fear. Like I said from the onset, this is the same fucking game they play over and over and over. And it works. It says, and the strategy has proved depressingly effective. There was the fear of race mixing among children, including the notion that black boys might begin dating white girls following the desegregation ruling in Brown v. Board of Education. By the way, this was a variation on the ancient and dusty fear peddled during Reconstruction that not only were black men incapable of governing, but their rapacious nature also put white women at risk of rape and devilment. There was the fear of a collapse of the Southern way of life and society following the successes of the Civil Rights Movement. That gave rise to the Republicans' quote-unquote Southern strategy. Richard Nixon used the fear of a lost generation to launch his disastrous war on drugs, which was not really a war on drugs at all, but yet another way to ignite white racial anxiety. Nixon aide John Ehrlichman would later tell Harper's Magazine, the Nixon campaign in 1968 and the Nixon White House after that had two enemies: the anti-war left and black people. You understand what I'm saying? We knew we couldn't make it illegal to be either against the war or black, but by getting the public to associate the hippies with marijuana and blacks with heroin, and then criminalizing both heavily, we could disrupt those communities. We could arrest their leaders, raid their homes, break up their meetings, and vilify them night after night on the evening news. Did we know we were lying about the drugs? Of course we did. Ronald Reagan employed the myth of the welfare queen to anger white voters. As the New Republic put it, the welfare queen stood in for the idea that black people were too lazy to work, instead relying on public benefits to get by, paid for by the rest of us upstanding citizens. This, even though, as the Economic Policy Institute pointed out, compared with other women in the United States, black women have always had the highest levels of labor market participation regardless of age, marital status, or presence of children at home. In fact, working class white people have benefited most from assistance from the government. George H.W. Bush ginned up fears of white women being raped by black former prisoners with his 1988 Willie Horton ad, hammering home a tough on crime message. Even Democrats get in on the action during Bill Clinton's presidency with their crack baby mythology, painting a dystopian portrait of an entire generation. Black children and young adults, they implied, were super predators. Unrepentant, incorrigible criminals who roam the streets willing to knock my mother on the head with a lead pipe, shoot my sister, beat up my wife, take on my sons, as then Senator Joe Biden said. For you stupid motherfuckers that helped vote this motherfucker in. Totally ignorant of his past, and I should say willingly ignorant. Being that technology is as it is, with this simple device called a smartphone. All right. But no, you fell for the bullshit. All right. And indeed, what am I reading here? What am I telling you by reading all this? Let's go to the scriptures. I've spent over 11 minutes now, but I want to make that point. I need to read it all because all this points to what? All right. This is Psalms. That there is indeed and has always been a conspiracy. Psalms 83:1, it says, a song or psalm of Asaph. Keep not thou silence, O Most High Yahweh. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O Most High Yahweh. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult. These people are the enemies, all right, of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. The nation of Edom, the so-called white people, all right? And they that hate thee have lifted up their head. That's pride. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. Let me read this again. What? Crafty counsel, the Willie Horton thing. All right? Welfare queen. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this all stemmed from one incident. A lady in New York, I can't remember if she was Northern Kingdom or Southern Kingdom. Oh man, she was a downright demon. I mean, she was into everything, even murder. All right. But that one case helped to spark. Now, of course, before then, I'm talking about early 70s, I believe it was. Now, of course, before then, they had made, the so-called black woman the poster child. But that one case, and I can't remember the woman's name, is what really helped solidify that mythos. All right. Remember Nixon's campaign, all this. What is this? The so-called Southern strategy. These are conspiracies. These are things that they did to drum up or to highlight fears of a certain people against another people. Calling someone super predators when they're the super predators. They're the ones going around here molesting children. Look at the Catholic Church as an institution by itself. All right? And you would think if someone does that, you would want to have them toe tagged before the sun went down that day. But no. All the more reason why we need to get the fuck up out of here. This place needs to fall yesterday. Because as long as we're here, we're going to continue to go through shit like this because these people are just downright wicked. They are the wicked. All right? We're always going to be a prey here. Continuing on. Let's see. Oh, here it is. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It says, Sarah Palin tried her best to other Barack Obama and make white people afraid of him, accusing the Illinois senator of palling around with terrorists. At the same time, birthers were questioning if Obama, and Trump was one like the chief one, was born in the United States and wondering whether he was Christian or Muslim. Then came Donald Trump, the chief birther, like I said, who ratcheted up this fear appeal to obscene levels, positioning Mexicans as rapists and Muslims as people who hate America. He disparaged black countries, demonizing black athletes, and found some very fine people among the Nazis in Charlottesville. Don't you people that look at us like we have a problem, that we're just, talking out the sides of our neck or some other place? If you can't see what's going on at this point, hey, you're just going to get left out there, you know? It is what it is. Uh, Ezekiel 3, let me get it real quick. This is what we're out here trying to tell you. All right. This is Ezekiel chapter 3. I'll start at the top. It says, "Moreover, he said unto me, Son of man, eat that thou findest, eat this roll," that roll being the Bible, the scriptures, "and go speak unto the house of Israel." So I opened my mouth, and he caused me to eat that roll. And he said unto me, "Son of man, cause thy belly to eat, all right, and fill thy bowels with this roll that I give thee." Then did I eat it, and it was in my mouth as honey for sweetness. And he said unto me, "Son of man, go get thee unto the house of Israel, and speak with my words unto them. For thou art not sent to a people of a strange speech and of a hard language, but to the house of Israel. Not too many people of a strange speech and of a hard language, whose words thou canst not understand. Surely had I sent thee to them, they would have hearkened unto thee." And we experience this every week. All right. Everybody else, and that's what this whole replacement theology, this secessionism is all about. Replacing the real Israelites with heathens. And we're trying to tell our people, we are the real Israelites that they're trying to replace. But you don't want to hear that, because this man has gotten into your head for so long. All right? And you grew up in a household worshiping white Jesus, and there is no such thing. And you don't know the history behind who that image represents. But again, you won't listen. You don't want to do the work and do the research yourself, which is going to help you, because we can tell you anything. We actually want you to go and study. All right? It says, verse 7, "But the house of Israel will not hearken unto thee, for they will not hearken unto me. For all the house of Israel are impudent and hard-hearted. Behold, I have made thy face strong against their faces, and thy forehead strong against their foreheads. As an adamant harder than flint have I made thy forehead. Fear them not, neither be dismayed at their looks, though they be a rebellious house." And our people are rebellious. Whoa, are they rebellious. All right. Let's go to, scroll on down. It says 17, it says, "Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore hear the word in my mouth, and give them warning from me. When I say unto the wicked, thou shalt surely die, and thou givest him not warning, nor speakest to warn the wicked from his wicked way, to save his life, the same wicked man shall die in his iniquities, but his blood will I require at thy hand." And this is what we're ultimately trying to do, warn you what's coming down the pike. All right, but you fan your hand, you call us all kinds of names, which doesn't bother us. All right. 19, "Yet if thou warn the wicked, and he turn not from his wickedness, nor from his wicked way, he shall die in his iniquity, but thou hast delivered thy soul." All right. And that's what we do, Hey, we just wipe the blood off our hands. All right. So back to the article. I don't think there's too much left. It says, "So it's no wonder Youngkin's critical race theory lie worked." Notice it's a lie. What's going on here, these people don't want to deal with the fact that they fuck our people over for so long and in so many ways. and it's coming out who we really are, they don't want to acknowledge it. They don't want to face the facts that they fucked up. And it's their fault that we're in the conditions that we're in. All right. I made several videos over the past weeks highlighting the fact that even we would just put out the pasture, just say, fuck them, basically with no help whatsoever. But in 1 or 2 generations, what? We had, what's the expression these Republicans like to use? Pulled ourselves up by our own bootstraps or some shit. Whatever. Anyway, we established towns, became self-sufficient, but that wasn't good enough. So what they do, they sabotaged it. They used that excuse that always works. Well, they raped a white woman. We have to defend white womanhood. And then all the lynchings, the terrorism, the poll taxes, and all kinds of other things just to hinder us. Jim Crow, and we were better off because we knew who the enemy was. It was easy to see, but this whole thing with diversity and worrying about other people that don't give a shit about us, haven't gone through what we've gone through because of these puppets that these Edomites, so-called white people, set up over us. We never learn. All right, that's why certain of us, 2/3, gotta go. It says, so it's no wonder Youngkin's critical race theory lie work. The parasite of white racial anxiety needed a new host, a fresher one. You could argue that the Democrats made missteps in Virginia, absolutely, but to win, Democrats also needed to tamp down white people's fears, which is like playing whack-a-mole. Some of the very same people who voted against Donald Trump because they were exhausted and embarrassed by him turned eagerly to Youngkin because he represented some of the same ideals but behind a front of congeniality. And that's the thing, they lost that with Trump. All right, because he let it all hang out. He wore his emotions on his sleeve. He didn't, they needed somebody. Well, let's go get that word so you'll understand it better. Trump just did not give a fuck. Let's see. Here it is. It says congenial as an adjective of a person pleasant because of a personality, qualities, or interests that are similar to one's own. Of a thing pleasant or agreeable because suited to one's taste or inclination. In other words, they needed that sly, slick, able to control itself kind of person that they usually had, like Reagan that came off like this grandfatherly type, Here's another one that says pleasant, all right? Sociable. They missed that. All right, they couldn't run that game because Trump was like, I don't give a fuck. Oh, let's see, is there any comments here? Probably not. Nope. Hey, so with that, once again, this has been, it's the same old tired ass game, all right? It's no originality left, all right? But that's why they're done. I mean, this place is through. All right, hey, so with that, I'm not going to, that's it. That's all to be said. This is same old, same old, same old. All right, so with that, hey, once again, I hope whoever views this is edified. That's what we do here at Great Millstone. We filter these, the news and what's going on around the world through the scriptures, as should be done, so you will know what time you're in, what the hell else going on. All right. So with that, hey, shalom.